Hey everyone, I just want to say welcome to the channel. Got 40 new subscribers, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, the last video did pretty well. It got, so far it's 1,300 views, and so that's pretty cool that YouTube is putting that in front of people's faces and people are actually clicking on it and liking it. So that's really cool. I'm definitely going to try to do more photo bashing, time lapses at the very least. Maybe narrate some of them, kind of like the last one. But we'll see how the year goes and how everything goes. But yeah, I definitely want to do more time lapses and upload those to YouTube. So and share those with people. So today I thought it would be cool if I showed you like kind of a reaction video. It's not a reaction video because I've already watched these, but I submitted some of that piece to Tyler Edlin and Noah Bradley, and they both did paintovers of it. So that's really cool. I mean, especially Noah, because I have literally his references up in the corner on that last video, and I was looking at those. So he's definitely like my hero when it comes to landscapes, and so I definitely want to learn as much as I can from him, and the fact that he's painting over this piece is pretty awesome. And then Tyler Edlin, he's an amazing YouTuber and artist here, and I just really appreciate all of his insight and wisdom, and he's got some really good videos, so definitely check him out. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into that, and we'll just watch those and yeah, see how it goes. All right, we'll first start with Tyler. This one actually looks a little different than the video that I uploaded, because in order for him to critique it, it had to fit the theme, and last month's theme was a winter delivery. So I modified it a little bit to fit the challenge, and so it looks slightly different. That, and for some reason he has it desaturated. I don't know what's up with that, if that's just like the screen capture that he had or what's going on, but it's a little desaturated, so that sucks that everybody thought that it was a little bit more desaturated than it should have been. But anyways, the feedback that he provides is pretty good. So let's just hit play here and hear what he has to say.
All right, so let's go. Let's start off with you, Kitten Bombs.
Kitten Bombs.
All right, this is cool.
If that's your real name, that's awesome.
That is my
I want
real
a name
name.
like that.
Well, I like the color in this. I like the mood. I like the atmosphere. I think this has got a nice, even, finish overall for it. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, one of the things I like about this one too is I like that the snow actually feels like snow. I think it's something I noticed in a lot of the entries was how difficult it was for people to capture kind of the qualities of snow to make it look like that. And I think they did a nice job with this. One of the things that is giving me a little bit of trouble is where the figures are in the center of the painting, and there's that dark gorge between them and the city in the background. Yeah. And they're kind of like that dark shape is kind of making that shape of the dog sled less clear. So it's kind of competing with it, and yeah, cutting the picture in a weird way.
I agree.
That's the first thing that stands out as troublesome to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have done a better job at maybe trying to incorporate those characters in. It was kind of a last minute decision to kind of fit the theme, so I definitely agree with what she's saying.
It doesn't intuitively go to the back where the delivery's happening. It kind of, there's this zigzag pattern going back and forth. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, almost unnecessarily so. Like my favorite or my least favorite part about this would be the actual composition. I like a lot of like the individual pieces, but I don't think perhaps this is the best way to put all the pieces together, right? It's a very kind of classic, let's zigzag our way there, but it's not really servicing the picture, for this particular one. So, some people it does, but this, I just feel like it's, almost kind of beating around, the long way of things, where careful placement of some of these elements. And I don't know if it needs the gorge or like the bridge there.
And I think too, you're running into a little bit of competition of focus. So, you know, you have this figure in the foreground with the dogs sledding up, and there seems to be a lot of thought putting into like making that, you know, the focal piece of the painting. But then you have this cityscape behind them with this light, like very graphically cutting across like some of the higher buildings. And that light is the brightest point in the picture. So it's kind of saying this light back here is what this picture is about. This you know, landscape composition choice here, this is what the painting's about. And so especially when you had that dark shape splitting the painting in half, it was really creating, you know, two different paintings that the eye wasn't sure which one the painting really was about.
She nailed it. I mean, she called me out basically. She nailed it. The city definitely was the more the focus with the original painting. So the fact that I kind of crammed these characters in to fit the theme, yeah, definitely did create that competition of focal points. So I agree with her.
About.
Yeah.
See, this whole shape causes a problem.
I would add to that is a very common, something I very commonly see, and I've been guilty of doing this in the past too, is having a close foreground object and something way off in the distance with nothing transitioning the eye. Like a balcony in the foreground and mountains in the back. You want to have something that kind of different objects that kind of pull the eye into the back, because it feels a little bit too one street to the other.
Like maybe if it had trees, some nice winter trees, you know, leading its way, you know, up to the city, you know, and put snow on those.
I think that's good advice. I definitely need to work on depth more, especially in that mid ground. It seems like because there's nothing there to latch onto to see the perspective. So adding extra elements there could help sell that more. I agree with that. That's good advice.
And you know, all the good stuff. It needs something though, right? Yeah, I definitely agree. And like, I think having this building this tall with a nice cloud and the highlight, that's also distracting. I probably personally would unify, like if you're going with like a more central composition or even a part of it, I mean, that's cool, but I would grab a part of the city, you know, definitively so, and definitely kind of double down on emphasizing part of that. It's all very equally, I guess, emphasized here. You know, just kind of creating a stronger point. I guess for like some of the things too, that can be like a matter of just, I think it's a little too light too. Like I would add a little bit more contrast overall, like making, and that way, like if you go darker, like this, you know.
Most of the time, artists have struggle with things in the background being too dark, and I guess I keep that in my mind so much when painting. Maybe I went too far. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know if I agree with what he's doing right here. I think it definitely could work this way, but you know, I can't, like, it's hard to question the professional, so I'm not gonna question it because I really do appreciate that, but I guess I am questioning it. Like, I just kind of want to understand why it needs to be darker. But I think it can work. So, but yeah, it being too light is eye-opening for sure. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Really give that city a presence. It'll still look like, I think it's further back there.
Yeah.
But you can also then play up some of that majestic winter light theme, right? That's kind of even going on. Like I'd even, if it's a focal point, right, you can go a little bit further, you know, with that, you know, and just
Night City.
Properly light the city up, you know, show loads of different lights, like the little street ones, the ones on the roofs, Christmas I don't know if it's a Christmas picture, but you know, displays, light displays, something. So
I almost wonder if you can't bring some more of that like cityscape sci-fi elements into the foreground somewhere, like maybe a little beacon or light,
that would
something
be a good
that
idea,
again
yeah.
like ties that background and foreground together. So there's pieces of that city world around where the figure is, whether it's like one or two things that are on the side of like this trail or pathway. And it also would help repeat some of those colors, those really beautiful pinks and yellows you put into the background. You could pull something forward into the foreground that repeats those colors.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea.
I felt, a little bit too much. It's too much over blue, and it needs a little bit of variety in there too. It's a bit fatiguing. Like I would probably like throw some other accents in there too, for sure.
I'd probably like
too blue, huh? I could get defensive about this and say, well, the sky and the reflective light from the shadows in the of the sky in the shadows, it's definitely going to be more blue because it's snow. But at the same time, I also don't want to go that route because I might prevent myself from receiving the feedback that I need. And I think I think he's right that these mountains could probably use a little bit more variety besides just the blue. So yeah, I do have a tendency to have more monochromatic colors. So I like that advice. I'm going to take that advice and try to work on that for sure.
Switch up the rhythms too. Just I'm kind of trailing off of my own thoughts. Sorry,
Yeah,
but,
no, go ahead.
it's very kind of samey in places. Not only with the colors, like you just said, but also with some of how things can get expected from that. But yeah, I see. I'm trying.
Oh, so Tyler's the one that's doing the paint over it, and I'm trying to understand what he's going for here. Yeah, it's hard to grasp. I know he's trying to do these quick because he's got so many, but yeah, I'm not sure where he's going with this one. But yeah, I think it's just mostly more variety in the shapes and mountains.
Trying to avoid mirroring that, but yeah, I agree. It needs something more in the foreground. Maybe a gate, maybe a tower. I don't know, a tower, but it needs maybe a paved road. It feels weird that you got the city, right? But there's not an actual path there,
right?
Or maybe show a path somewhere else leading to there. Something to kind of explain it. Maybe street lights, traffic lights, again, the trees. There's different things you can do. It just feels a little disjointed, I think.
It's also missing Canadians.
The story's not very cohesive because why would you have a city just plopped right there without any kind of way for transportation to get in besides like snow dogs? Like, I think that's probably what he's getting at.
Roads.
I don't like seeing snow without Canadians.
That guy might be a Canadian.
He could be. Yeah, but then where's the no, he needs a Canadian flag. Come on.
But yeah,
moose. I want a moose.
Overall, lovely piece though.
Another quick thought too is maybe to bring some of those pinky light colors into the snow to frame the figure, like just like subtle reflections off the snow, so it kind of like draws the eye to that focal
Well, that's
point.
the thing. If you did like an ice, if it's like more of like ice and less snow in parts, you can get a sweet reflection that you can, if you're clever enough, weave into the design of the picture, to kind of make things really work.
Push
but again,
the eye around.
it's gonna take a little effort for that though.
That was pretty good advice. Definitely the one that stands out immediately, just thinking, is the depth one for the, like, have more details in the midground to really push that depth and show where things are placed in space. And so definitely going to try to remember a lot of those things when doing the next art pieces, whatever I might do next. So all right, so that one's that. Let's see what Noah has to say.
All right, sweet. This is cool.
Thanks.
I like a lot about this.
Awesome.
Let's see here. Just trying to think for a minute. I think my big thing for you is going to be three-dimensional form. You've got a strong sense of the two-dimensional look of things, and for the most part, that's working for you. But a lot of stuff is lacking a sense of really three dimensions. And I'm going to see if I can kind of show you what I mean by that. So let's take...
Please do. I'm
just going to dive in and start adding some form to things. So partially it's going to be like a lack of perspective on things, and partially it's going to be lack of attention to like the individual small forms.
No, yeah. I have a
I like what you've got.
I have a tip that I say in my head: stay zoomed out as long as possible. So, yeah, I definitely I think a lot more with the big shapes.
Going on here in the foreground, I think that's kind of a nice example of the sort of form we want to see.
You should, because I looked at a lot of your paintings when doing that part.
Where each of these is pretty carefully observed and you're really thinking about it. and you can really feel like, okay, that's the depth. But as you start to get back from that, you lose some of that sense of depth and form. So I want to see if we can get some of that back. So really getting in there and thinking about, okay, what's this form doing? Okay, let me have some dark on the other side, light, and I'm going to have this form, and it's going to go up like this. And then thinking about each of these brushstrokes, like, okay, you're going to have this one go up, and then it's going to overlap with another thing in front of it. And getting a little bit more deliberate with some of your brushwork. You're getting a bit scribbly for the sake of scribbly, and you want to make sure that you're really paying attention to what you're doing, and really get deliberate with stuff. Like, okay, you've got this rock shape here, and then it's going to come down like this, and then you can have some snow kind of snaking in there. And have another layer maybe behind it. So really start to get specific. So even in that little tiny area there, you can start to see that these are getting more like three-dimensional form, and a lot of it's coming about by, you know, overlapping these shapes on top of shapes, and just getting really, really specific about what's happening.
Okay.
Rather than trying to keep it kind of vague, because you've got the right sort of colors and lighting. But some of the edges and some of the forms and the actual drawing of what's going on is leaving us without something to kind of latch our eyes onto, because we don't know exactly what we're looking at, because you haven't spelled out enough things. Like, our eyes can fill in a lot of details, but you need to give us just enough to get us going, and there's not enough going on back here where you have actually really deliberately been like, okay, here's this rock, here's this other overlapping thing with snow on it, here's exactly how that works. So we don't have enough of that to make assumptions about the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, all I can say is I definitely agree with that. I mean, like, it's eye-opening, but once he starts elaborating on the specifics, like, I need to really work on my three-dimensional form, and stop implying everything. I guess maybe, like he's saying, like, maybe it kind of looks a little mushy, because I'm not really saying this is a rock. I'm just kind of making these broad strokes and shapes, and not, yeah. I guess maybe you could probably tell me kind of still thinking about it in my head, and if I'm really getting what he's saying right now. But I think I'm understanding. I'm definitely probably gonna reference this several more times, just so that it sinks in. And yeah, these words are gonna be playing through my head every time I do a painting now.
So. But I like the colors, I like the lighting. Same goes for the clouds. I think the clouds could use a bit more form.
They're not
like,
well
you've got
defined.
a lot of nice implied forms up here, but I want to see a little bit more decisive brushwork, where you're really deciding, like, okay, this is going here, this is the exact shape of this. You know, it can be kind of easy to fall into a pattern of, well, you know, I can imply things well enough, so I don't need to make the actual decisions. But try to actually really decide, like, okay, this is exactly what this cloud looks like, and I'm going to get some really crisp edges in there, and that's what it's going to be.
Okay, yeah. Been kind of wishy-washy around a lot of my details, and really need to define some of those. Shows a lack of confidence on the actual form, and yeah, we don't want that.
So yeah, I really like a lot of what you're doing in here, and I think a lot of it's working. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit of that extra clarity of form. You might consider something that helped me a lot with that is actually getting in and doing some line drawing. I'm not much of a line artist. It's not something I'm known for, but I do find that it's a nice balance to my tendency, just like you, with kind of thinking more about the flat shapes, more about like the actual painting aspect of it, and getting back to, okay, let me think about how does this actually work? What am I really trying to paint here? And it makes you make those clear choices. So I might consider suggesting that. And I think it might help. It definitely helped me a lot when I really needed to drill down and like, okay, what am I actually making here? So yeah, hopefully that helps. So, but really nice.
I think that's a really good tip because I don't ever do line drawings a lot. Most of the time, I find my line drawings are terrible, and that's a big sign of what I need to work on. Like, why don't I just work on that instead of painting and trying to, I paint so quickly and so like all around that I never really dial in on a certain object and try to figure it out. I'm just kind of like make a mark and then go over here to the next one and then over here to the next one. As soon as my brain starts to struggle just a little bit with a certain area, I'm on to the next spot, and I need to kind of slow down and, like you said, maybe even you do some line drawings to figure out these forms. So that's, I like that. That's really good advice. Yeah. You got anything else to say?
Right. So let's turn that on and off. So just some tiny tweaks, but I think all your colors and lighting and stuff like that are spot on.
Awesome.
So just a little bit more form and depth. All right.
That's that's it. So that's really good advice from the pros. I'm definitely going to consider those. Probably going to watch them a couple more times to really get into it. I need to get back to work on some art. It's been a slow year. I did so much last year. I felt like that was an excuse to take a break, and now I'm feeling bad for it. But that's a good thing, because as long as I feel bad, that means I actually care. So as long as I care, that's good. It's when you stop caring is when it's bad. All right, so that's it. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching.